Hello YouTube. People who habitually relax on the shores of this sea do not suspect how many sensations and unsolved mysteries it hides. I know because I spent a few summers there and collected information, but that was long ago. However, I have been updating my knowledge from various sources and would like to share with you the most interesting. Those of you who know, I'm sure, will comment. Just let me know that it's hard not to be fascinated by the Black Sea. This is a former freshwater lake which many consider to be the birthplace of the myth or true story of the deluge. All living things died there, and ancient civilizations were born. Deep down, it's a poisonous sea. The locals even gave it a terrible nickname, the Sea of Dead Depths. This is due to the fact that its depths contain a lot of hydrogen sulfide, which not only turns the metal black, but also kills almost all life at the depth of more than 100 meters. I'll come back to this fact in my video. Some researchers suggest that the sea might have seemed ferocious and sinister to ancient Greek sailors, especially because of the warlike Taurites, tribes that lived on its shores. In the ideas of ancient people, a special role was played by the fact that metals located in the depths of the Black Sea lose their colors under the influence of hydrogen sulfide, which could also affect the name. Now, it is the hypothesis of hydrogen sulfide that occupies the middle of the Black Sea that is considered the most correct. It is hydrogen sulfide that prevents the development of life in the depths of the Black Sea. By the way, it can be removed from there, but it is very expensive. But it's worth it. Without hydrogen sulfide, the Black Sea would look like the Mediterranean. The historical roots of the Black Sea. Interestingly, the formation of the Black Sea is associated with the ancient Tethys Ocean, which was home to dinosaurs. In other gaps, so to say, the other gaps are the Caspian and the Aral Seas, associated with the same ancient ocean. There's also a curious hypothesis that about 5.5 thousand years ago, this sea was an isolated freshwater lake that existed after the Ice Age. The coastline was much closer to the center of the reservoir. Crimea was not yet a peninsula at that time, and the Sea of Azov did not exist at all. Once, a powerful earthquake facilitated the access of salt sea from the Mediterranean Sea to the Bosphorus, which led to a change in the ecosystem and the mass extinction of former inhabitants, such as belugas and catfish. This could have caused the accumulation of hydrogen sulfide at the depths, which created incredible conditions for the existence of modern species. Another hypothesis says that about 20,000 years ago, a horrible war of former civilizations took place on Earth. More than 1 billion people, or those creatures that were before human beings, died in it. Most of the dead are in the Black Sea, as well as in the black soil region of the Kuban, a region in Russia and Ukraine. Therefore, there is hydrogen sulfide at the bottom of the sea and fertile soil on land. And a sharp rise in the water level in the Black Sea provoked the destruction of ancient civilizations that existed on its shore. This could serve as the basis for the myths about Atlantis and the deluge. And then the Ice Age began, which ended with 12 to 15,000 years ago. The Black Sea, with a maximum depth of 2,210 meters, ranks 48th among all seas in, if you look at the depths. The average depth is much less, about 1,240 meters. The greatest depth is located south of the Crimea. This part of the sea, according to scientists, is part of the outlines of an ancient lake that, like I said, existed here about, some say, 7,500 years ago. I don't think they have the exact age. This lake had no connection with the world ocean until, at the end of the Ice Age, the ocean level rose so much that the water broke through a narrow isthmus, which is now known as the Bosphorus Strait. The Black Sea is one of the most mysterious bodies of water on the planet. Certainly, what is hidden down below in its depths. That is why it attracts more and more researchers every year, both official and the unauthorized diggers or marine grave robbers. At the moment, the sunken ships and airplanes that have crashed into the region can be divided into several groups. Those that have been raised from the bottom, those whose location is known, but due to the great depth, rising to the surface is not yet possible. Those that hypothetically may be in the Black Sea. For example, the most striking example of the third category was always the passenger cargo ship Armenia, which left Yalta, the city of Yalta, in the early 1940s. 3 hours later, the ship was attacked by a German torpedo bomber aircraft, and 4 minutes later, the Armenia sank along with 5,000 people on board. Only 8 were lucky to escape. It was a medical ship, by the way. At the end of the Great Patriotic War, or World War II, as it's known in the Soviet Union and Russia today, the sunken ship was searched all over. Even the American scientist Robert Ballard, who had previously found the famous Titanic, failed to find it. Another Black Sea loss is the German transport Clarison, which never reached the Romanian shores. According to one legend, treasures looted from museums in Crimea and the Krasnodar territory in the Soviet Union were transported in the holds, but no one has become the owner of this treasure yet. By the way, there was a similar legend about the ship Kharkov. It dissipated in 2017 when the ship was discovered at the depth of 95 meters. It turned out that no gold bars, antiques, secret weapons were transported by that ship. As far as for the missile cruiser Moskva, which sank in the Black Sea during the ongoing war, I believe it was in 2022, its depth of 100 to 300 meters also imposes its own limitations. Military operations in the Black Sea often involve additional risks, including the possibility of clashes and other geopolitical factors. Therefore, any lifting actions will be carefully planned and evaluated from the point of view of expediency and safety. Well, that's according to the Russians. As for the city of Novorossiysk, the ships that sank lie in the layers in the bay, from wooden galleys to the times of the World War II, plus Admiral Nakhimov, which sank. It lies at the depth of 43 meters. And this is according to local residents. Now, about the mysterious disappearances. They still occur in the Black Sea. For example, in 1996, on the night of September 27-28, a small fishing seiner, Saor 3, stopped contacting the shore when it left the Sevastopol port. The ship had just vanished. Various hypotheses have been put forward: involvement of the pirates, the flight of the crew along with the ship, and the accidental sinking during the exercises of the Black Sea Fleet of the Russian Federation. But none of the hypotheses have ever been recognized as reliable. 2 years later, the Seiner fishing trawler Storm disappeared in approximately the same area. But this time, the cook from that trawler managed to survive. He said that after lifting the trawl, there was a big black barrel on board, and a few moments later, an explosion occurred. So it is possible that Sauer 3 also became a victim of the so-called barrel mines from previous wars. In the year 1996, the MiG-29 of the Ukrainian Air Force also disappeared from radar. It took off from a military airfield in the village of Kirovska, after which no one saw the airplane anymore. Communication with the crew was interrupted over the Black Sea. The depth at the site of the alleged fall is 800 meters. And therefore, they didn't even try to get the black box to find out the true causes of the disaster. In total, about 1,000 ships sank in the Black Sea, most of which lie at depths of 20 to 40 meters. And they don't raise them. It's expensive and impractical so far. However, it seems that over time, countries in the Black Sea will see to it that everything is raised for the sake of metal. That's when the iron ore runs out. Like many other large bodies of water, the Black Sea has become a source of legends about sea monsters. I have a video about it. You can find it in my channel. There is a myth about a certain sea creature resembling a giant lizard that makes screams like the sounds of trumpets. Random eyewitnesses claim to have seen this monster off the coast of Crimea, but most experts believe that the existence of such a large creature in the Black Sea is unlikely. Well, however, scientists have been known to be wrong on a number of occasions. As for the treasures and gifts of the sea, immerse yourself into the world of ancient secrets. The Black Sea can hide untold treasures. In the Danube Delta, there could be a tomb of the Huns, King Attila, which according to legend consists of 3 coffins, gold, silver, and iron. It is unknown how many secrets the bottom of the Black Sea holds. Interestingly, the waters of the Black Sea contain huge reserves of gold and silver. If all the precious metals could be extracted, it would yield over 540,000 tons of silver and about 240,000 tons of gold. I've heard that Turkey and Romania are already actively engaged in extraction of these metals from seawater. The issue of extraction of rare earth metals from shells and mollusks of the Black Sea is also being studied. The Black Sea also holds ancient Greek colony cities that existed 2,000 years ago. There's one that is known as the Crimean Atlantis. Now, mystical places and spirits. The Black Sea shore, inhabited by humans for centuries, has become a place for many mystical stories. For example, at Cape Fioland, a ghostly shape of a man is sometimes seen emerging from water. A sailor who lost his life on a military cruiser is allegedly wandering in Sevastopol Bay. On the Turkish coast in Trabzon, there is an abandoned Sumer monastery where, according to rumors, the souls of the Byzantine monks who once inhabited these lands still roam. Thus, the Black Sea on the one hand seems to be a familiar place, and on the other it holds many secrets and mysteries that humanity continue to explore, sometimes with impatience. There's also a curious hypothesis that about 5.5 thousand years ago, as a result of the melting of glaciers, there was a sudden flooding of the fertile plains of the Black Sea, which could lead to global changes in the climate and the ecosystem of the region. This event led to the formation of a large freshwater reservoir or lake, which eventually acquired salt water to the Mediterranean Sea through the Bosphorus Strait. Now, this significant transformation has raised many questions about the ancient civilizations that may have lived in the vicinity and may have been a key moment for the migration of people. This is a serious hypothesis and is being studied and researched by a number of people. Meanwhile, a number of monuments dating back to the Byzantine period and the Middle Ages have been found in the water area. And in the year 2018, an ancient Greek ship built about 2.4 thousand years ago was discovered 80 kilometers from Bulgaria. Researchers who have seen it firsthand claim that the object looks as if it has just gone to the bottom. This is one of the features of the Black Sea, hydrogen sulfide, which makes its lower layers uninhabitable for the vast majority of living organisms, but it serves as a very effective preservation for organic materials that would have long since disappeared into oblivion in ordinary water. Here you can find wooden vessels of rare preservation, notebooks with notes, ancient scrolls, real treasures in the eyes of scientists. Here's what's important. Many of the artifacts have not even been discovered yet. So the Black Sea may present a number of unexpected historical surprises in the future. Not only historical, it has many secrets and it reveals them gradually. There are mysterious objects in the Black Sea area that still remain unresolved. There is, for example, the site Georgievsky Underwater Archaeology, where the remains of ancient cities and settlements are located, flooded as a result of changes in water levels. The remains of the ancient fortress are clearly visible from the high seashore near the village of Veselovka. In the sea, at a distance of 30 to 40 meters, a sunken fortress wall with a length of more than 100 meters is clearly visible. In this context, it is worth mentioning entire underwater cities, such as the one that was discovered off the coast of Bulgaria, which dates back to ancient Greek times. And there have been a number of Greek polises or cities in the area. I've seen one myself many years ago. An ancient settlement has been discovered in the Black Sea waters of Bulgaria. So underwater archaeology suggests that it was built about 6,000 years ago. Now, the ruins were found near the mouth of the Ropotamo River in the Burgas region. The ancient ruined city itself was found back in the 1970s, but has only recently been explored in more details. According to scientists, the ancient city appeared 1,500 years earlier than the construction of the pyramid of Cheops in Egypt, if we assume that this is the right age of that pyramid, which I don't assume. And you can find more about ancient Egypt in my playlists. I think you will like what I present and the materials that you might not see anywhere else. In addition, the Black Sea has also become a place of research of unique ecosystems. The oxygen level is much lower at depth, which creates special conditions for the life of special organisms, such as bacteria that destroy the released methane gas. These conditions make the seabed so attractive to scientists seeking to unravel the mysteries of its inhabitants. The Black Sea, like I said, is surrounded by many legends and myths. In antiquity, it was associated with myths about gods and heroes. Ancient Greek myths are associated with many characters, such as the Argonauts, who searched for the Golden Fleece, and Odysseus, who encountered various adventures during his travels. It is also worth noting that local legends, according to which the sea is full of treasures, lost ships and pirate rewards. And there's plenty of legends. There's also a belief about black waters that take away the souls of those who decide to swim on them after sunset. It turns out that there are dangerous and unexplored places not only within the Bermuda Triangle. There is a claim that in the very center, of the Black Sea, there is a zone where any navigation is disrupted. Not only is the Black Sea not the safest sea for ships, with many shallow waters, deep depths, and sandy spits, but its center is also extremely difficult to arrange, so to say. A huge number of terrible processes occur in the middle of the reservoir, which can be greatly harmful to navigation. There are a lot of whirlpools there. Most of them go clockwise. They form separate currents that are extremely dangerous to humans. At this point, the sea is so deep that it is now impossible to determine how many ships are left there. Not only warships are at risk in this territory, which, they're strong and equipped with modern installations that allow them to leave the so-called Russian triangle intact, but even they are at risk. They just stand a better chance. The Black Sea is not only mysterious, but also very poor in fauna. Unlike its neighbor, the Mediterranean Sea, which possibly has a common origin with it, the Black Sea has only about 2,500 species of animals and fish. And there are about 9,000 of them in the Mediterranean. That's almost 4 times as much. There are no starfish, sea urchins, or octopuses in the Black Sea. Not a single coral. This is due to the fact that a terrible catastrophe occurred in the depths of the Black Sea, which led to the formation, we already know, of huge amount of hydrogen sulfide. My experiences with this sea took place over 5 decades ago, but I had been to its shores a number of times, lived in a seaside village in what is today Abkhazia, and villages in Ukraine, Russia, but during the Soviet times. I had interesting stories, I heard them. I saw unusual dolphins, ventured once inside a subterranean ancient Greek town. I witnessed villagers hiding weapons, including very old ones, for the impending future military conflicts. They knew back then that this was going to happen, and alas, it did in early 1990s, and so on. Once I was treated with local homeopathic remedy in the Armenian village of Alekhadze in Abkhazia, as it is known today. It was Soviet Georgia at the time, in the Abkhazia part of it. I sneaked to see the illegal fishing at night. I heard hush-up stories about those who looked for treasures, or those who tried to defect to the West by evading Soviet border guards, and more. But those who know about locations of the treasures don't talk. So we can definitely discuss sunken ships in general, or the ecology of the sea, or the strange formation of the sea and ancient legends, but that's about it. So that's what I wanted to let you know about this very unusual sea, and you can see more, like I said in my videos, about it, and I'll bring you more about discoveries in this part of the world because I monitor archaeology. It's very interesting, and I think with advancement of satellite technology we will find out more and more in the coming years. I want to thank you for your attention to my work. If you can support my research, please see the links in the description to this video. Please like my videos and subscribe to my channel.